Good morning, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okun. I am talking about the help available in the United Kingdom, the money being paid to people who need money in the United Kingdom to help them with the cost of living, particularly the cost of living crisis in the UK, and also in relation to the problem which is actually global in the UK. There is a scheme which is actually based on the benefit system, which is also benefit system is actually part of the United Kingdom's welfare state welfare system, which is set by the government over the years to address the issue of social injustice, which is created by an extremity within capitalism. Capitalism, like I said previously in the rest of the videos, is the primary economic system now. But also, if you look at the history of society, in particular economic history, you will find that the main system of rule has been actually capitalism. There have been socialism and communism, which people have actually heard about, which some of them have also seen, which actually is construed to be contrary to capitalism. The whole idea about freedom or democracy or even totalitarianism, dictatorship, all these things we have heard, we have actually read about. Some of the people have actually studied or even lectured or taught or even led countries based on this thinking. Now, in the United Kingdom, we practice capitalism. It's a capitalist country as opposed to maybe Russia, China, which are generally considered to be communist, which is the opposite of capitalist. These are actually some of the things people talk about, but in practice in the United Kingdom, we are been operating the welfare state. The welfare state has been a government project which is based, provided by the public sector via the public service infrastructure. However, increasingly in modern society under globalization and also the changes in the attitude of government, we have seen the strengthening of capitalism. We have seen also the extremitizing of the same capitalism, in the sense that the government attitude has produced results including the closure of the public sector. Now, if you close down the public sector, you fail to provide social welfare, which social welfare state is part of, including benefit being help, including money, financial help from the government, and also other aspect of help, or the hospital, healthcare, housing, support for families, and also support for society broadly in terms of public transport, energy, food, and things like education. Supporting children, parents who cannot afford, say, tuition fee, or students wanting to go to university who face expensive costs of education, being supported by the state, directly or indirectly. To come back onto our topic of today, we are looking specifically at help in the United Kingdom for people who need help, who are low income. In other words, they are poor. In practice, they are the poorest of the poor in the United Kingdom. And I have always said, and also saying this to the UK government, that we live in an age of much affluence in the United Kingdom, where it is now not really right to find people in Britain still being poor. And although the United Kingdom is not perfect, it is actually rich enough and capable enough in terms of resources, including system of management, delivery, or administration, and also leadership, all these infrastructures are there. The one thing missing is actually the political will, which is actually distorted by a fairly, misguided ideological beliefs, and also political attitude, which is found mainly within the Conservative Party, especially the extreme right wing of the political party. Of the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, and also you have the same attitude, or similarly, in within the New Labour communities, Labour Party, which is actually drifting toward the right. Also, besides that, when you face the Labour Party, which is actually in New Labour, sometimes it is difficult to distinguish between the Conservative Party and the Labour Party, because these are the main ruling political parties in the United Kingdom. But the attitude of politicians and also their policies and practices is now increasingly in favor of the few and not to care about the many. This in practice means the government is not only concerned now by the rich, the super rich, the multimillionaires and the multimillionaires, who are actually increasingly becoming fewer and fewer in number, in percentage terms, maybe 5% of the population. And what happened in the United Kingdom is actually happens globally because of globalization, because of the global agenda. Global agenda is actually a right-wing agenda, which is actually driven, or even driven actually powered by capitalism. So if you see in Europe, you also see in Asia, in America, and now also in Africa, you find one distinctive system which is capitalistic and marketizing in its approach to economy and also rule, and then the global management. This has produced poverty of extreme nature. This actually also reflects the government attitude to benefits, including the benefit now known as universal credit. Universal credit is actually money. It is now the mainstay of the benefit system. If you want to know something about the benefit system, know something about universal credit. We are looking at universal credit today. If you are actually interested in getting help, do a study on universal credit. If you're a child, if you're an adult, if you're a pensioner, if you're sick, if you're healthy, be an expert on universal credit, because if you master universal credit, you can actually understand what universal credit is, and you will also be in a position to challenge your member of parliament to do reform, to actually understand the necessity to raise the level of benefit. No matter type of benefit to implement, whether it is universal credit or something else, what is actually needed from the UK government is to raise the level of benefit, which is a major problem. In terms of the cost of living crisis, which is a topic I'm actually talking about, I'm actually referencing these in terms of the help given in the United Kingdom. I'm looking at universal credit, which is in terms of the cost of living crisis, because the cost of living crisis in terms of poverty is a primary indicator of how poor or rich a country is. In Britain, the majority of the population are increasingly becoming poorer for many factors. If you watch this video in conjunction with the rest of the videos. And if you are new, if you're only watching today or visiting this channel today, support this channel if you like what you see, or even if you don't like it, somebody else might like it. So be generous and subscribe to this channel. Watch the video as much as you can, and share with family and friends. Leave comments below. Click notification bell, click like. All these are factors of help going forward. We will be actually working as much as we can to improve the quality of the material. But what we are doing, the plan, the approach we are actually doing is good, because it is knowledge. We live in an age of knowledge. Today, if you live in a country, especially a country like the United Kingdom, you live in an age of knowledge. Knowledge is number one If you don't have knowledge, you're going to be excluded from society. That is why this program is extremely, extremely important. People should pay attention, especially young people, especially children, who are allowed to watch the channel of this kind. If you are not allowed, you are not sure, as your parent, if you can watch this material, and it is educational. The aim is actually to educate. But if you can get entertainment from it, so be it, because that's the nature of the video. I mean the nature of the nature of the media, the nature of society. We try to be as interesting as possible, and we also try to inform and educate, which is actually a very important point. People really should take their life very seriously. Go to the government website, gov.uk, even if you are not a citizen or a resident of the United Kingdom. Because what happened in the United Kingdom also happened in Europe, happened across the globe. Like I have already said in the opening. And people must pay attention to this situation, because it is a matter of life and death. There are crises out there. So many people are now resorting to attempting to commit suicide. If you want to commit suicide, be my guest. Commit suicide if you want to. But you see, if you actually care about humanity, if you care about your life, if you have learned your culture, then you have to face out to the real world. If there is a problem, you have to be the boss of that problem. You have to master it. Read, listen to educational material, even movies. Learn from movies. Learn from entertainment. If you're a child, learn from your cartoon. Have knowledge. Have knowledge about poverty. Have knowledge about wealth. Have knowledge about technology, which is now, technology is set to drive communities, is set to drive globalization, the internet, artificial intelligence, 3D printer, robotics, nanotechnology. We live in times of excitement, and it is a good thing, because we are doing very well in terms of development. What we are lacking is our culture. Our culture to teach us to pay a primary attention to humanity. Humanity should be the center of the universe, of our learning, of our development, of everything we do should be centering on humanity. If you watch this video with the rest of the videos are produced. Take your pick. We are moving forward and producing more videos. And I'm so excited. And you're invited to be part of this community. Leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And so, master, and be proud of yourself. You are in no position to apologize for being poor, to apologize for being rich. If you're a rich person, if you're a multimillionaire or a multi-billionaire, you are in no position to apologize for your status being wealthy. You deserve your wealth. You deserve to be rich. Poor people also deserve to be poor. If you're poor, you deserve to be poor. I mean, this is not your fault. Deserving to be poor doesn't mean you're done something wrong. Poor people haven't done anything wrong to be poor. And rich people haven't necessarily done something right to make them rich. Sometimes life is actually faithful. You do all the right things. As a person, you still remain poor. You do all the wrong things, you still end up being rich. If you're rich, be happy. You're a human being, so you have the right to be rich. You are a human being, you have the right to be poor. Because if you are a human being, there is wealth and poverty. It is almost like playing a lottery. But one thing we have in common, to take our destiny in our hands. We, as humanity, we have the right, the ultimate right, rich or poor, to take control of our life as poor people, as rich people, as masters, as slaves. Society is divided between the ruling class and the working class. The working class are composed of the lower and the middle class who are workers. Life is so hard on the lower class. The lower you are at the bottom of the pile, you suffer more than anybody else in society. The middle you are as a worker, life is slightly better. And so be happy as a middle class earner. But there is so much poverty. And the people at the bottom of the pile who are extremely, extremely poor in the United Kingdom, the numbers are growing by the day. Sometimes poverty is hidden by the credit system. If you borrow money, you're the middle class. If you borrow money, you're the lower class. You may be tempted to think you are actually doing well. And with credit, you always do well. Pay now, buy now, pay later. So you buy now and pay later. And pay you will with interest. So if you fail to manage your debt, you fall deeper and deeper into poverty. Once you're in poverty, you face the cost of living crisis more and more. And therefore, the kind of help available from the government, directly from the government, but also from charities like Citizen Advice in the United Kingdom, these helps are available. And it is upon individuals living in the United Kingdom to take the responsibility to access this help. They come in benefit form. If you know what benefit is, leave a comment below and let me know what you know. It's mainly money, financial support, but it can also something of value, which can help support to access goods and services. And in modern societies, the most effective tool to access goods and services is finance, is money. And that's what benefits actually stands for in the United Kingdom, money. Money given to people on low income, people who are sick, people who are caring for other people who are sick or disabled, have health or health issue or disability issues. And that's what underpins what universal credit actually underpins. It is for people who work for a living, and for people who are out of work, and for people with low income without adequate savings. So we have mentioned in the other videos, go and visit my channel and look at the other videos, because I will be repeating some of the points. If you have savings of 16,000, generally, 16,000 pounds and below, you can get benefit. These benefits are actually known as means-tested benefits, which means you have the means of a livelihood or you don't have the means of a livelihood. If you don't have the means of livelihood, it means also in practice, in terms of money and wealth, that your saving is 16,000 or below in the United Kingdom. Then you begin to get some benefit. As your saving reduces from 16,000 towards the lower level, you get more benefit. If you have 6,000 pounds in saving, you get the full benefit if you don't work to earn from your work, to earn from other sources. If somebody is giving you money, either as a charity, whether it is a family, it is considered as income because you have the means. In fact, in practice, if you can actually get money from your family, you can tell the Department for Work and Pension that you have your family has given you 10,000 pounds and you have it into your bank account. The DWP will never give you any benefit unless you are sick, unless you're probably a pensioner. Because some benefits are actually non-means tested. Non-means tested means if you have the means to live on, the means to livelihood, if you have the means to livelihood, then you are considered to be not having the means to live like a normal person. So if you don't have the means, you are tested positively to get benefit. And then if you are actually having the means of living, of livelihood, if you have the means of livelihood, then you're tested negatively. Means testing, negative means testing literally means you actually lack, if you are tested negatively in terms of means testing, it means you have more money into your bank account, you have investments. For example, maybe you have a property which you have and rent as a business, as an investment, or some other form of investment. Maybe you own a shop, a clinic. You have some. That business is generating profit, and if it is not, then it is actually locked in investment as an asset, which the DWP considered to be providing a means of your livelihood adequately to deny you welfare benefit. This is a general remark I made in the other video. I'm only repeating it here because it is so important people to understand the benefit system. The welfare benefit system is one of the most complex entity anywhere in the world, especially in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom as a country, as a system of government and administration, is one of the most complicated in the world because of the history, because of the nature of the rule of law, which rule of law actually required the creating and the applying of these laws, including in courts and other courts of laws and other courts of services, such as the civil service department, which is all courts of administration, or other courts of worship like the church. These are different courts which are actually highly structured, especially here in the UK, because of its history in Europe and across the globe. And this complexity is not accidentally. Society is so complex. If you are a child, if you are an adult, be an expert on society. And the root to social learning is actually what this video is trying to achieve. Trying to talk about universal credit. Do not think it is benefit and you can just go and get it. It is so complicated now, especially now, because government attitude is not to provide benefit to the British people. This is actually government attitudes across the world, in Europe, America, and Asia, and also in Africa. Because the world is going right wing, they are actually practicing extreme capitalism. The market, the private ownership is like a drug, and it is really a very exciting moment in the market. But poor people who are in more and more are being excluded from world resources are suffering. And they suffer because the government has shut down the public sector in the United Kingdom and also across the globe. And they have to shut these things down in order to promote capitalism. Whether it is the right thing or not, you leave a comment below and let me know. If you think capitalism should exclude public service, if you know the government is doing this, leave a comment below and leave me an opinion what you think. Even if you don't live in the United Kingdom, because it is happening in your country also, it is happening everywhere. So everyone should be actually prepared. If you live in the world, because of globalization, harmonization, cooperation, these are actually languages of global economic management or administration. You need to be familiar with this. You have to be a student. Nothing is for free. If you work, if you don't work, you have to learn to the best of your ability and be on top of information. We live in the age of information. People who do not learn, people who do not inform themselves will be left behind. You are on your own. The government of the United Kingdom have said it. They want a smaller government. Smaller government means people who cannot actually govern themselves are excluded. If you have knowledge, if you have information, if you have the internet to access the internet and master society, master the heart of administration, master the heart of rule, then you will actually understand the dynamics of society to begin accessing information, resources, and a capacity to rule over yourself. That is what the government said. The government is doing that. They are shutting down the public sector so that you can rule over yourself. The government say they are sick and tired of ruling over you. You are supposed to be free. There is something called freedom. If you have information and knowledge, then you can use that to get out of the bondage of the rule of the state. People complain every day for being told what to do, to be ruled over around the world. In the United Kingdom, they are complaining, and they are right, because they want to be free of the state. But you can only be free of the state if you can rule over yourself. You can rule over yourself by changing the way you think, using your head to think correctly, to get away from mental slavery, from everyone, from the government, from the law, from the tyranny of the law, from poverty. You have to practice the effort to the maximum. Freedom from poverty, freedom from diseases, from ignorance. You can only be free from ignorance if you learn, if you use your brain to think, if you allow the government to think for you, then the government will return into your brain, and your brain is going to be frozen or fried. It is your choice. We live today in a world of choosing. We choose. We choose who to love. We choose who to not love. We choose what to eat, what not to eat, what to drink, where to live. We make these choices. You can choose to live on the street. It's our freedom. It's our democracy. It's our enlightenment. We learn. We acquire knowledge. And once this knowledge is acquired, then we become proficient mentally. We become our own bosses, our own rulers. We rule over our lives. We declare independence of from the state. And so, knowledge is critical, but we need to remember we take time away from work, from studies, from thinking, and go on holiday. Take time to go on holiday. If there is party somewhere, go and attend a party with friends. with families, put a big smile on your face. If there's music, get up and dance. Because this is actually your health and wellness. Life is holistic. Focus. You see, be thankful. Have sense of gratitude. Say thank you to yourself. Say thank you to your children. Have gratitude. Focus on something valuable. If you think peace, focus on peace. Think about it. Talk about it. Form a group, family group, community group. Think peace. Think humans. Think humanity. You care about environment. Think environment. How do we save the environment? If you hate property, think poverty. How can we solve the problem of poverty? Focus on poverty with a view to understanding how poverty is created and how people solve the problem of poverty. Focus on the solutions of poverty. Investment. Understand how to invest in the economy. Understand the essence of wealth, how to invest in factors of wealth. And study people who actually invested in wealth to access wealth. In the case of the working class of Britain, people now on benefits, or people who need benefits now in the United Kingdom, these are people who are actually very, very poor. But you see, you are still a human being able to get out of poverty. You are still a human being able to learn, to focus, to concentrate your mind on understanding wealth. And you have to work hard to do a study in the knowledge economy, as we see today, working with your own hands, implementing the physicality of work. But most importantly, you are supposed to train your mind by thinking accurately, thinking effectively, focusing on problem and solutions. You have to renew your mind. You have to acquire access to the power of the mind to run your life, to operate your system, the system you create to get yourself out of poverty. You are the master of your life. Government have said this, especially the Conservative Party have said this, and the British people have agreed with them more than agreeing with the Labour Party. The British people have agreed that the Conservative Party is right by giving back their country. Former Prime Minister of Britain, David Cameron, now as Foreign Secretary in the House of Lords, who sits in the House of Lords now, the current Foreign Secretary of State under the government of Rishi Sunak, the British Prime Minister, the Conservative Party. When David Cameron was campaigning to be for the Conservative election, to be elected, I can't remember, I think 2016 or something like that, he said, we are giving your country back. We are actually working to achieve a small government. You see, we are all in this together, he said. We are all in this together, so we work together with the state, with the government, because the government have been ruling over us for decades. And the British people have actually hated being ruled over. Because it is the British government people, it is the British people who love freedom from the state, from the tyranny of the state, from the tyranny of the law. Which is why they have agreed more and more with the Conservative Party and with New Labour. When the New Labour and the Conservative both actually now congregate to shut down the government, shut down the public sector. Because the government can only persist if there is the public sector. So the government has now achieved that objective of shutting down the public sector, including the benefit system. The benefit system, what now remains is now residue. Residue means what is left, is left over. The actual thing is now gone, is no longer there, because we, the British people, authorized the British government to shut down the public sector. And so the British government shut down the public sector to make us happy. Because we asked the British government, through voting for the Conservative Party, through voting for New Labour, we, the British people, voted the Labour Party and the Conservative Party consistently to allow them to shut down the public sector, including the benefit system, including shutting down the National Health Service, including shutting down schools, including shutting down the ambulance system. That is what they have done. They have shut down the public sector. And therefore, the welfare state is now shut down. What is left? Do your best to get it if you need it. If you don't need it, then join the marketplace. Become a businessman or a businesswoman. Stop crying over spilled milk. If you are passionate about the public sector, stop crying over the public sector. Because it's already dead. Bury it with dignity. You see, if you have lost a baby, if you have lost a child, if you have lost a parent, if you have lost your best friend, if they are already dead, mourn over them for a time. Mourn over them for a time, but give them a decent burial. If you're a British citizen, if you are a British resident who may not be a citizen, who live in Britain, in one way, even if you are an illegal immigrant living in Britain, you have to pray for Britain, because Britain is your country, even if you are living here illegally. They are giving you food. Britain is giving you food. You are actually illegal. It's bad enough to come to the UK illegally. And this is a message for illegal immigrants. Stop disturbing Britain. Go back to your country if you're illegal. If you are an illegal immigrant crossing using the boats, stop disturbing the British people. Stop actually disturbing Britain. Go back home. I am an immigrant from Africa, but I'm legal. Doesn't mean this is my country, but I'm allowed to live here. So thank you so much, Britain, for looking after my life, for saving my life from all sorts of troubles in Africa. Civil wars, people are actually being murdered on the streets of Africa. In slums, Africans are actually dying quietly. They can't even do anything for themselves. They have lands. Africans have lands. So how comes Africans do not want to work to produce food for themselves? Britain, the British people should now ask the United Kingdom government to give their lands back. That is what David Cameron said. What is what the Conservative government said? They are giving our country back. We are waiting for our country to be the first thing the British government should give us, the people of Britain. Whether we are illegal, whether we are legal, you are allowed us to come into Britain as illegal immigrants. Deport us to Rwanda if you want. We can go to Rwanda. I'm not actually subject to deportation because I'm not an illegal immigrant. I'm an immigrant, but I'm legal. I'm legal. I'm actually legal. I've been living in the United Kingdom for over 30 years. If you are actually British, if you are in English, if you're born 30 years ago, then I was in this country before you were born. I think I deserve more than I am being given by the United Kingdom. But the United Kingdom doesn't give anything to anyone. You have to get out there and take something for yourself. Even if you are British, even if you are English, English means white, a white person born in England. If you're a black person born in England, you are not English. Try to find something else to do. If you are a black person, black British, born in England, find somewhere else to go if you want to call yourself something specific. Otherwise, you're going to be British. That is good enough. You are not going to be English. Stop fooling yourself if you're a black person in England, born in England. I mean, if you are moved into England, because see, the United Kingdom, which I'm now talking about, is composed of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. God save the King of England, who ruled over England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. God save the United Kingdom. United Kingdom is a great country. It's one of the greatest countries on earth. Because he actually looked after me. Britain looked after me. The United Kingdom looked after me. He made me what I am. And I'm so grateful to the United Kingdom for looking after me. I'm also grateful for the government, for what the government has done to look after me, to look after my family in the United Kingdom, and to look after my family around the globe, my family in Africa. You see, by visiting the United Kingdom, by living here, working so hard in the United Kingdom and sending money to Africa, to my family, me and my family who live in the United Kingdom, my cousins, we succeeded in lifting our families in Africa out of poverty. And so every black person, every white person living in the United Kingdom, be grateful for the country. Say thank you, the United Kingdom, for looking after me. And so the United Kingdom also look after me by providing welfare benefit. And so if you're British, if you're English, you're born in here, you're white, you're black, you're Asian, you're American who was born in the United Kingdom, you became British. Or if you are a white, I don't know how you produce English. Do you have to be white and born in England, or you have to be English, of an English parentage and born in England? I mean, is that the criteria, or you are England, whether you're born in England or out of it, as long as you are of English heritage? Leave a comment below if you're English watching this. Let me know the heritage of an English man and woman who live in the world. Because, I mean, if you're born in America, if you're born in part of Europe, in maybe Germany, or in England, or I mean to say in Ireland, but your ancestry, your root is in England. Your English is of root of heritage. Your English is of heritage, where you come from, by way of ancestry, by way of heritage. You are English in your blood. Your blood spells out English, England. The Englishness, you know, the very, very essence, the very fingerprinting of English and England actually flows in your blood. You are English of English. Born and bred in England. White British, who was born and bred in England. That is, I think that is the definition of England. Leave a comment below if you think it is something else. I mean, if you don't know what it is, you can Google who is an English man or woman. How do you define that? But my understanding is that if you're a black person, forget it. If you're an Asian, forget it. If I am wrong, then I'm happy. If I'm right, then I'm happy. Because English or not non-English, We are all in this together. That is what David Cameron, former British Prime Minister, Lord Cameron now, Lord Cameron, that's what he said when he was standing as the Conservative Party leader to be elected for the first time, which he won and formed a coalition government with the Liberal Democrats under the leadership of Nick Clegg. And in my opinion, they delivered on their promises. They took over from the New Labour, who also delivered on their promises. They privatized the country. And their defense, right or wrong, is inconsequential. But they succeeded in privatizing Britain. And with Britain came the privatizing of the global economy, including in Africa and Asia. What remains now is a residue. If there is any vestige, what remains of the public sector is actually temporary. And if you need help from the government still, which many people appears, in my opinion, needing still help, then do your best to access whatever is left from the public sector and public services, including welfare benefits, including the universal credit, which I am talking about now, which I promise I will always be explaining the wider context, what's happening. And life in Britain, life across the globe has been very challenging. For the poor, it has been very challenging for the rich. The rich, in my opinion, are worried about their wealth. The poor are, in my opinion, worried about their poverty. The poor people are worried not knowing what to eat or what to drink, what to use to heat their home and to eat to satisfy their hunger, to their sustenance, to their livelihood, to stay alive, in accessing food, energy, water, housing, healthcare, to public transport. Poor people are so worried. It doesn't matter how many they are. People actually calculate poverty in one way or the other, depending on what they are trying to do with their figures and statistics. But for me, I've always said, if you work for living as of necessity, then you can consider yourself poor. But I have no right to decide who is poor or who is not poor. There are people who are so poor they sleep on the street in the United Kingdom. They believe they are rich, and so they are rich because in certain ways, in certain ways, if you think you are something, then you are. You think so, you are. If that principle is established, then people who actually beg on the street, people who really suffer, we see that they know they are suffering. But, if they think they are rich and they're on the street, then their suffering is not related to wealth. Their suffering is related to something else. It is for you to ask them if you think they are suffering. If you talk to them and then, people who are on the street who are homeless in Britain or in other country, it doesn't matter which country you are. If you meet somebody who is on the street and they're probably looking really to be really in a bad way, some of them actually eat food from rubbish bins in the United Kingdom. The people who actually feed on food on the street, if you throw something in the bins, there are poor people in the United Kingdom who eat from the bin. And you can call them poor if you want, but they may not be really happy. Hearing you calling them poor is rude. To call somebody poor, because see, they have their pride. The British people have their pride. Even if they are homeless, even if they are living in concentration camp, even if they are living in public libraries, even if they are living in churches. I mean, even they live in caves. If the people of the United Kingdom, British people living in caves because of poverty, or because of some maybe they are actually trying to be adventurous. I may conclude that the British people are poor because they are living on the streets, because they are homeless, because they are jobless, so therefore they are poor. I mean, if they say they are poor, they believe they are poor, then it's for the government to conclude, because the government in the hand still ruling over the British people. As the last said, even if they are actually stated, the government is taking steps to support the British people into the process of emancipation. The government is now making an effort to release the British people out of servitude, out of slavery. Because the British people have been slaves of the state for decades. That is what happens if a group of family, a group of individuals rules over you. Individuals who are actually super rich. Rich means you have money, you have wealth. I mean, even people may try to define wealth and money in one way or the other, but there is only so much you can do to stretch the meaning of things, of words. You can only do so much to stretch meanings. But in the common sense, in the common parlance of understanding words in their meanings, poverty is poverty and wealth is wealth. This is a starting point for those of us who want to take life at face value, to understand poverty, to understand wealth. And therefore, I would conclude to say there are poor people in Britain, there are rich people in Britain, and the poor are getting more and more in number, and the rich are getting less and less in number. And the fewer the rich are, they are increasingly taking more and more resources away from the many and transferring into the hand of the few. Let me leave a comment below if you think that is social justice or social injustice. You have the brain with which to think. You can think for yourself. You can make judgments for yourself, rich or poor, because we are humans. There is certainly the one thing we have in common: we are humans. It doesn't matter if you are on the street, if you are actually on crutches, you can walk, you on a wheelchair, in the hospital, you're terminally ill, or if you're going to live for longer, we are humans. We have one thing in common: we have an understanding. And so we actually, in my opinion, the best thing to do is really to learn and learn and learn, because we live in a knowledge economy. We are in the age of knowledge. So internet is an opportunity for us to access knowledge. Yeah, especially for young people who are now very good at internet. If you have children, if you have cousins who are children, if you have family or friends who are children, you see how effective they are in using the internet, how clever. Young people are cleverer than older people, in my opinion. Leave a comment below if you think younger people are actually cleverer than older people. I think they are. I think they are more capable. They are more smarter. They are smarter than actually older people. Younger people are smarter than older people. That is a fact. If you think you're an older person, leave a comment below. If you think you're a younger person, leave a comment below and let me know. If you think you are the older generation are cleverer than the younger generation, leave a comment below and let us have a conversation. And we are talking about the universal credit. I've actually mentioned how challenging it is to access it. If you are watching this video, I have so many videos on universal credit, on benefit. Actually watch them. there are some specific, I will be going forward. Some days I can be more general, looking at the context of poverty, looking at the situation of the cost of living crisis, looking at the sociological aspect of society, looking at the broad picture, and also helping people also to put things in perspective. If you focus on benefit, and I am telling you, in case you disagree with me, leave a comment below. If you think that the welfare benefit is actually we haven't started yet on welfare benefit in terms of governance. In other words, if you think we are going to have more public sector, we are going to have more welfare benefit, we are going to have more housing, public housing, we are going to have more of what is given to us by the government, then leave a comment below. But for me, I think we are seeing the last vestige of public sector. I think the public sector is closing down. I think the government is closing the public sector down. If you think the public sector is still there, then leave a comment below. Because who am I to direct your thinking? Because you see, the central argument is for us to be free, rich or poor, sick or healthy. We are entitled to be free. We are free to think what we want to think. I have to think about 8 billion people. That is going to be too much. It's just like that is biting more I can chew, even by the standard of this channel. When you are on this channel, then let us share information. Let us produce a sense of understanding. Let us up viewpoints and have a conversation about poverty. Let us have conversation about the cost of living crisis. And let us stop living like despots. Let us for once learn to live as democrats. Let us learn to live like socialites, as socialists. Because Britain as a country are composed by capitalists. They are also composed of socialists. They think different things. Society means one thing or another, to different people. So I think one way, you think another way. Leave a comment below, let me know what you think. The question for you to answer: what is happening? What is the British government doing? Is the British government going to shut down the public sector? Has it shut down the public sector? I think they have shut down the public sector, because I think it is going to be harder and harder to access universal credit. It's going to be more and more complicated because the system has to shut down. That's what I think. Because the reason I think the system needs to shut down, so that we can promote capitalism. Capitalism is there to support private businesses. So society, beginning from now, is going to be run privately by private companies. So what used to be the public sector is going to shut down totally, including in the hospital. The benefit system is provided by the public sector. Now the government is actually is introducing part of benefit to be provided by energy company, water company, also by charities. Charities actually cross between public and private. As a legal entities, they are actually public bodies, but they're actually as organizations, they are private, because they are privately owned, they are privately initiated, but because for legal reason, because the third sector, for legal reason, because they get public money, they use public money, even if individual people donating, actually they donate in their capacities as public. They donate this to the third sector, charities, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations. They are actually identified differently in different countries. But NGOs or non-governmental organizations are corporate, they are big. The big organizations, they are charities, they are very big. They operate mainly in Africa and also in some parts of Africa, Asia, where there is poverty and war. I think they are linked with, in practice, in terms of management, or in terms of administration. I think they are linked with the United Nations and all the other multilateral, say, international organizations across the globe. And these are the kind of things happening. And what society does in terms of governance is to make sure things are running okay, things are running smoothly, the laws are set, the laws are actually applied, people are complying with the law, and so the law producing the system of rule is something society now are trying to re-examine to see if the law can still be applied. Because if we are calling for freedom, then the law it will eventually actually disappear. The rule of law itself will disappear, because as long as the law is there will still be rule. So the primary function of the law is actually to rule over us, because the law only teaches us about the law, what the law is, what the law provides, how you should comply with the law. If you don't comply with the law, you get into trouble. You're either committing crime or civil offenses, and then you suffer because of that. That's what the law does. The law is an instrument of rule. So if we want to be free, we have to shut down the legal system. We have to shut down the government. We shut it by voting our government into power using our votes. When there's election, we vote for political parties of our choice, and we expect them to actually shut down the government, so that right now, because we are really desperate, we are so passionate. As the British people, we are passionate about freedom, democracy. The rule of law is still important, because it makes us civil. It actually prevents us from destroying our country. So the rule of law is still necessary. But if we want total freedom from the state, eventually we have to work our way away from the legal system to the educational system, which education system should also be liberalized to the point that an individual teaches themselves as individuals to understand what value means. And in my opinion, if you are a human species, there is something a human being has in common with one another: value of humanity. If we can achieve that as individuals, living with others, because you see, some people want to live alone. They don't even want somebody. They want to see a human being. They don't want to talk to anyone. That is their freedom. They don't want to be told what to do. That's their freedom. They are humans, all right, but they don't want to live with other humans. But at least if they understand the value of humanity, then even if they're living alone or with other people, as individuals or society means family, the communities we produce, cousins, friends. That is what society means. And there are people who are totally anti-society. They don't like something called socialism. They are capitalists, they are individualists, because they want their life. The world revolves around them as individuals. But my hope and my take is that if you are an individualist or a familyist or a communist, a community, whatever you call yourself, you're a socialist or you are an individualist or a capitalist, whoever you are, you want to live alone, you want just to mind your own business. You set your own rules, you live by your own rules. And if I think walking on the foot is the right thing to do, you will say to me, you prefer to walk on your head. And there's nothing I can do about it, because that is your life. There are people who now, when you go and speak to them and tell them, don't commit suicide. They are so shocked that you dare even to tell them what to do. I mean, what do you take yourself to be? I mean, who do you think you are to tell me to be alive? If I want to die, I am supposed to die if I want to die. You see, I love myself, or I don't love myself. I hate myself, or I love myself. It is me. Nothing to do with you. Just stay there. Stay away from me. Mind your own business. Leave me alone. I am who I am. I rule over myself. You rule over your life. You have your money, you have your poverty, and just keep your space, keep your distance. This is my space. That is your space. Mind your business. Don't even talk to me. So there are individuals who now believe like that. I may believe one thing or another, but when it comes in, I also need my space. I want my freedom. I don't want the government to be telling me what to do. Pay tax. What for? Why should I pay tax? Why should I even obey the law? Do not even set any law over me, because that is what freedom is. The law should shut down. That is what I want. I am an individual, because you see, we are individualists. We don't want socialism. We just want individualism. I mean, we don't want society. Society is rubbish. Individualism is everything. On the other hand, there are people who think society is everything. Leave a comment below if you think society is better, individualism is better, capitalism is better. Let me know if you know what capitalism is. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. What is capitalism? What is socialism? I mean, if you live in groups, is it better than living alone? Is that what individualism means? Or individualism is partners with other individuals? I live with my own values, with my own principles as an individual, and you live with yours. But we share the space. We can decide to partner or to do contract or just have lunch together. But after lunch, don't you even phone me, don't you even talk to me, because I am so concerned about my individuality. You see, I am so important. Do not even consider phoning me. If you want to phone me, text me. That is a deal. Text me. Then tomorrow it's another day. Then we will decide. You see, this is the outlook. In my opinion, let me know what you think. This is my opinion. I think this is where we are heading. We are heading to be a world where people are actually individuals. That is, in my opinion, that is actually the essence of freedom. You don't have parents telling you what to do. You don't have governments telling you what to do. You don't have friends telling you what to do. You don't have even a dog barking at you. The dog should mind it. A cat should stop staring at you. The cat should mind their own business. You want to be free. Ensure we shut down the public sector. We promote the free market economic system. We promote small, medium, and big businesses, and we are happy. We vote our government in approval. The Conservative Party especially have ruled over Britain more and more. Leave a comment below why the British people are always voting Conservative Party. The Conservative Party are the party of crime, law and order. Do you like law and order? Yes. Leave a comment below if it is yes. If it is no, leave a comment below. And let me know what you're thinking. Law and order. The police to deal with criminals. Telling you what to do. But they also, the Conservative Party is also about foreign policy. Foreigners, according to the conservatives, are the primary cause of problems in Britain. And the British people agree with the conservative more than the Labour Party, because Britain, for the last decades, have been ruled more by the Conservative Party than the Labour Party. The British people believe foreigners are actually horror stories, which is what the Conservative, especially the Conservative on the right wing, the right end of the spectrum. The Conservative believe if you can get rid of foreigners, then Britain will be free. And the British people agree with the Conservative more than the Labour Party. Labour Party thinks, because they are socialist. And leave it comment below if you think the Labour Party are socialist and the Conservative are capitalist. Capitalists are the ones who are opposed to foreigners. They don't want foreigners at all. Or do they? Do they want foreigners or they don't want foreigners? Let me know. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you think the Conservative Party do not like foreigners. And they do not like rich people. The Conservative, do you like rich foreigners more than poor foreigners? Do you like rich British? Or do you love everybody? What do you think about the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom? Leave a comment below. I mean, there are so many stories about the Conservative Party. What the Conservative Party gets up to. What do the Tories in the United Kingdom, what do the Tories get up to? What do they want? Do they want rich people? Do they want poor people? Do they like people? Do they like socialism? How are they capitalism? What is the difference between socialism and capitalism? Are socialists like people? Socialists like the kind of group who like people? As you know, capitalists, do they like people or not? Are they humans or aliens? If you are a capitalist and you don't like people, I mean, what kind of contradiction is that? Because you see, if we are a human society, Conservative or the Labour Party or Liberal Democrats, in terms of politics, and also the people who vote for them, because you see, when we vote, we give power. Our power to the government, to rule the country on our behalf. And if the government shut down the public sector, then we have to think, what is the value of the public sector? Why is it there? Personally, I have been thinking that the public sector is the one which help people who are not super millionaires and super billionaires. I mean, if you are millionaires and billionaires, in my opinion, I actually think, in my opinion, that you need the public sector. You need the welfare state. You need welfare benefit. You need public health care. But that is me. The British people may disagree with me because they are the majority. We rule by the voice of the majority. Although democracy also means we listen to the voice, the opinion of the minority. I've been looking at how this system works. I've been taking opportunity to actually understand the cost of living crisis and interpret the cost of living crisis in terms of society, in terms of what happens in this country, policy, practices, the opening of the public sector and the closure of the same, the promoting of the private sector and the closing of the private sector. Which direction are we taking as the British people? What direction, which way are we going? Are we going public or private or hybrid? I think we have moved to the right wing side of life. I think we are more capitalist in the United Kingdom than socialist. We have drifted toward the extreme far right wing of society, which actually which hates, right wing hates socialism. They hate the public sector. They hate the National Health Service. They hate public schools. Anything are there to help poor people. They hate poverty. They, even the poor capitalists, I mean the poor conservatives in this country and the New Labour, right wing extremists in the United Kingdom hate poverty. They hate poor people. Even if they are poor, it doesn't matter how poor they still hate the state of affairs. And they will not do anything to close down the public sector, because the public sector presents poverty. Somehow mysteriously, the British people, especially the right wing, especially the one who vote the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, I think they mysteriously think if we shut down the public sector, because it actually represents poverty, miraculously the Britain is going to be rich. Because you see, the Conservatives and the New Labour, especially, and the Liberal Democrats have successfully argued that public sector is wasteful. So now, the British people believe that. They believe it is a waste of money to invest in the public sector. So, the government has listened to the British people, and they have closed down the public sector. So, the benefit system has been closed down to cut waste. That is what we allowed the government to do. We gave them the permission to shut the public sector down, to shut down the public. I mean, if we suffer poverty, which I believe we suffer because of the public sector, because of capitalism, because capitalism concentrates wealth, in my opinion, concentrates wealth in the hands of the few. Take the wealth away from the hand of the many. And in my opinion, the public sector was meant to create condition of safety, a safety net for people who are left out by the system, which is what the capitalism does, because it's designed for the few and not for the many. And that is my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, leave a comment below. You think I'm right, leave a comment below. And let us also, whether I'm right or wrong, what are we going to do? Because we have a problem. We have the cost of living crisis, which is a reality. If we think it is not a problem, that is fine. But I think everybody agree now, most people now agree that the cost of living crisis is a problem. What is causing the cost of living crisis? The war in Ukraine. If you think the war in Ukraine, fine. I think the war in Ukraine is contributing to the cost of living crisis. I think poverty is creating it. If there is the war in Ukraine, there is going to be the cost of living crisis. If there is COVID-19, there is going to be the cost of living crisis. If there is war in the Middle East, in Israel or in Africa, there is going to be the cost of living crisis. If the weather messes us up, if there is flooding, if there is tsunamis, there is going to be a cost of living crisis. Because society, in terms of poverty management, is incapable. It's not just weak, but it is actually now, society is now incapacitated to manage poverty, to actually protect poor people who are the majority from poverty. As soon as the public sector was closed down, in my opinion, the government of Britain, of the United Kingdom, and of the world lost the opportunity and the capacity to protect the majority of the population from poverty. If I am right, and I believe I am right, from now on, poor people who are actually 90% of the population in the United Kingdom, in my estimation, 90%, if you think the percentages are less or few, let me know, because I think if you work for a living, you are poor. And this forms 80 to 9% of the population. If you are not a multimillionaire or a multi-billionaire, if you still have to borrow money to buy a house to live in my opinion, you are poor. You think you are rich? Let me know. Leave a comment below and let's have a conversation on this matter. But the matter of poverty is serious. Cost of living is presenting seriousness. Thank you everyone who have been watching. I will be talking about universal credit, which is the main system of benefit in the United Kingdom. If you are watching this video, watch the rest of the video. I've actually been talking about it. I'll continue to talk about it because it's the main trust or benefit provision in the United Kingdom, and it is almost impossible to access it because the system is so complex. And I think it is the complexity is deliberate, is intended to discourage the British people in a nice way. The British government is being nice to discourage the British people from trying to access the public sector, because the British government has no more money to finance welfare benefit, to finance the hospital for the public, to finance schools. That's why everywhere you go in the public sector, there is a roadblock. You cannot access the tax office. The insurance system, the national insurance system is shutting down. The public sector has shut down. The ambulance system is dead. It's only left enough for the few who has money. The few who have money will access money and wealth. They will access healthcare. They will access schools. Schools will be closing down totally for the poor, for the majority of the population across the globe, because it is a global agenda to save the environment, to save the world from depleting natural resources. The majority of the population, 90%, should be excluded from world resources. This is a global agenda. This is my belief. If you think I am right, leave a comment below. If you think I am wrong, leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching this. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. Share with family and friends. Watch my video as much as you can, whether you enjoy it, whether you don't enjoy it. If you think it is of value, share it. If you think it is not of value, be curious. Maybe we will meet again, and maybe you will watch one of my videos and change your mind and continue to watch my video. My channel is supposed to grow because I'm so excited about my channel. And if you watch my channel, it's going to grow. If you subscribe to my channel, it's going to grow. If you share, if you click like, if you click notification bell, my channel is going to grow. And if you share with family and friends, my channel is going to grow. I'm going to be so happy, because I want to talk about these things. And I like to talk about these things because it's so important. You see, if there is a problem and you talk about it and you study it and you take control of it, it's a good way to survive. It's a good survival strategy. We are humans. We don't just walk away quietly. I mean, what is the fun? I mean, it's not funny to just walk away. We are humans, for goodness sake. We stand up and face to the situation to solve it. We are problem solvers. Thank you. See you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.